What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Beasley. Hope you all are staying positive and cool out there. I'm coming at you guys today with a season 5 of the Real Housewives of Potomac, episode 3, Sip and See You Later. Now, before I get into this video, I will say I'm really confused on how to kind of take this season, because on the show, I'm Team Candace, but in reality, I'm Team Monique. And I'm Team Monique mainly because Monique and her husband came out this past week, like all up in the blogs, stating how her issues with Cherie stemmed from her best friend, basically like getting in touch with all the, her former best friend. She got in touch with the Real Housewives of Potomac cast members and spread a lie that Monique's baby wasn't really for Chris. It was for her personal trainer or somebody. Basically like Monique was cheating on her husband. And she ended up getting that information to Charisse, and then Charisse and Candace linked up. And I'm seeing that's how Monique thinks that Candace is really being like the fake friend, because like, why are you linking up with this girl knowing that she spread a whole bunch of rumors about me, like they were completely false. And then I'm Team Candace on the show mainly because they just keep ganging up on her. And I think Candace has looked back at last season and saw how terrible she was, and she's kind of cleaning up her act. So it's kind of hard to go in on her. But at the same time, in reality, Candace, like, they brought up her old tweets, her being homophobic, which I wasn't feeling. But at the same time, actually, I'm not even going to make an excuse for her. She was 24, so you know good and damn well that, like, that's your thoughts. Around that age of 24, 25, like, your brain is fully developed. So she still has, in my opinion, I think she has those opinions in the back of her head, but in the court of public opinion, she's going to clean it up. She even went on Funky Dineva's channel, who I love, that I look up to, absolutely love Funky Dineva. But when he interviewed her, it just didn't really sit right with me, mainly because them two were already friends. So instead of like a coaching moment, it kind of felt like a let's go ahead and try to clean this up to the public type of moment, because basically, I mean, she even said it herself, like, thank you for allowing me to use your platform. Basically using Funky Dineva's platform, who has a large platform, in order to apologize to the gay community and take back what she said, even though she didn't really, in my opinion, own up to what she said. Like, it kind of just felt like, okay, I'm going to do this and let's get it over with. But that's what it felt like to me. So it's really weird. Like, I don't really know who to root for. I still love Monique, but I just have not been really feeling her in these last 2 episodes. But let's go ahead and get into it. So we started this episode basically where they pick up from the last episode. They were going off on each other. Like, everybody was going back and forth. And then Wendy ends up asking, the girls, like, is it only Candace who needs to apologize, or is it her and Ashley that need to apologize? And Ashley isn't trying to apologize mainly because Candace posted a whole bunch of mean tweets when Ashley was allegedly, like, giving birth to her baby. And, you know, I think the real problem with Ashley and Candace is Candace sat back her first season and watched Ashley get away with murder. Like, she roasted each and every one of those girls. I forgot who she was attacking on Candace's first season, but Ashley was going hard. And then on Candace's second season, it was time to then call Ashley out about her wrongdoings and what she did wrong. And then Ashley somehow ended up turning into the hero of the situation, even though Ashley was dead ass wrong. And that's what caused them two to kind of come to blows last season. And that's how everything transpired between them in the media. Because, like, Ashley got away scot-free. Like, nobody calls Ashley out on anything that she has done in the past, but yet they hold Candace to the fire for some reason. It's kind of weird to me. So Candace says that she doesn't really want to talk out her issues in front of everybody. Like, this is just between her and Ashley, which I do agree with. And then Robin chimes in, and she basically is like, you need to apologize for all the crazy things you did to her. You pulled a butter knife on her last season. And the thing is, Ashley was dead ass wrong in that situation too. Like, both Candace and Ashley were wrong. But Ashley kept coming back to that house after Candace had kicked her out multiple times. Like, you don't come back in my home unwelcomed, like, just because somebody else let you in. Like, this is my house, I told you to leave. Like, leave. So, like, yes, Candace overreacted a little bit, but, I mean, both of them are wrong, basically. But don't come in my house if I already kicked you out. But yet, nobody acknowledges, like, what Ashley did to start this whole entire situation. Like, it's really frustrating to me. And then Robin always shoots herself in the foot trying to be Giselle's sidekick. It's starting to get old, Robin. Like, honestly, y'all, I could see this being Robin's last season. Like, no bullshit. Like, I like Robin, but she just has absolutely nothing going on. Like, she is just, like, if she's not sucking up to Giselle's ass, like, what else is there? Like, her just walking around and fucking culottes being, like, a Karen type of mom? Like, So Ashley then Candace then tells Robin to basically, like, shut the fuck up, and then Robin ends up sitting there eating her food. And then Monique is sitting there taunting her again, and then it kind of prompts the other girls to jump in and pounce on her. And then then Candace is like, is this like a dinner for Ashley, or is this like for y'all to jump on me, basically? Like, why are y'all ganging up on me? And that's another reason, like, it's so conflicting because Candace, like, she gets on my nerves, but I really just feel that I was Team Candace this episode. Like, I don't know what it is they're doing with this editing, or if it's just like Candace is really like being calculated and trying to clean up her act. But overall, y'all, like, I'm Team Candace on this episode, and I hate to even say that because she's problematic as fuck. So then Karen then steps in, and she's just like, why are y'all trying to force an apology out of Candace? Like, let's get this over with. Like, them two need to talk it out, and like, this has nothing to do with us. And then, basically, like, Candace kind of just says fuck it, and she, like, somewhat apologizes to Ashley, and then everybody's all good and dandy. And then Candace is sitting there like, oh yeah, everybody's cool because, you know, Ashley's good. Basically, like, it's like if they had to pick a side, they're going to pick Ashley over Candace, I guess, because Ashley is a day one co-star. And I guess she has, like, seniority over Candace. And in the Mean Girl spectrum, I think Ashley is, like, right there with Robin above Giselle. Giselle's like the head Mean Girl in charge, even though she ain't in charge of shit. So the dinner ends with Candace and Ashley giving each other a hug, and then, like, Candace kind of is like, you know, I do want to talk this out. Like, there's no shade between us, but I do want to talk this out alone. And then Ashley kind of, like, subtly shades Candace. She's like, I know, it's a big step for you. I understand. I'm like, okay, girl. So off camera, we hear Monique. I think she kind of walked up to Candace, and she was, you can't really tell what happened. But I feel like Monique was trying to apologize and basically be like, oh, you know, that was just for the cameras, girl. Like, I had to do this so we can get a scene, basically. Like, that's what I took from it. Like, Monique was like, you know what? I think Monique was trying to come up and apologize to Candace, like, I'm sorry for going so hard on you, but, you know, we got to film this scene. We got to get ratings. That's what I got it from. But then Candace was not having it. She was kind of just like, no, like, you could have told me up front, like, what was going to happen. Because basically, like, she ended up getting ambushed, even though she thought it was just going to be a dinner celebrating Ashley and her accomplishment of having a baby. So we go into the next scene, and then we see Ashley and her troll. They're going shopping for baby gifts for the little Michael Jr., I guess. I forgot his name. And they're in the midst of shopping, and they're talking about God knows what. I completely forgot, to be honest. And then Michael, out of nowhere, then kind of, like, rudely rushes Ashley. She's like, okay, can we wrap this shit up so I can get back to work? And I'm just like, okay, so this is where the plot thickens. Their relationship gives me, like, a Handmaid's Tale type of tea. Like, I feel like he has Ashley up in that condo. That condo is not their main home. I refuse to believe that. I feel like he has Ashley in that condo. And then back at, like, his main house, that's where he goes to kind of just, like, either go to work or fuck other bitches, basically. Like, that's, like, I just feel like Ashley, she took up for him for the fact that, like, they haven't been able to have sex since the baby because she doesn't really feel 100%, and she also tore her asshole. But at the same time, I feel like Ashley makes excuses for him, and I feel like she makes excuses for him because basically he is funding her life. And basically, like, Ashley's not trying to lose that lifestyle. So she's going to do and act a certain way to appease Michael and not really challenge him too much. Because Michael basically gets away with murder, and then Ashley always turns a blind eye. Like, as long as, like, the money in her account is good and she's living a good lifestyle and not working, Ashley's good. That's what it is. Like, they're like, Michael only got with Ashley for her looks, and Ashley got with him for the money. There's no real love there, in my opinion, and that's why I feel like he was reluctant to even having a baby with her. And I feel like she wanted to have a baby mainly because, like, oop, that solidified. Like, hey, but it is what it is. So we see Giselle. She's at her poorly furnished house, like she's getting more construction done, and then we see her stepsister Robin pop over. So Robin kind of talks about how she's like still just surprised that Giselle took Jamal Bryant back. And I'm like, it shouldn't be surprising because Giselle really has low self-esteem in reality. So Giselle says that like she loves that she feels like they're like a family unit, and that she feels like he has turned over a new leaf and is really trying to change and be a better man. And she also points out the fact that he is just sharply dressed all the time as well. And I'm just like, Giselle, where? But then again, you don't know how to dress either, so you probably think the way that he dresses is on point, like some Saks Fifth Avenue type of shit. But you know what? Them two belong together, in my opinion. Both just a fraudulent couple with low self-esteem. So they then talk about their daughter, Giselle's daughters, not really feeling their relationship. And I mean, they've been so used to you guys being divorced, so now that he's in their life, it's just like what's going on? And then they know that he has been cheating on you numerous times in the past, so they're just waiting for the damn hat to drop. So we get a peek into Wendy's life. She is at her house. She has 2 adorable boys, a new baby girl, and a fine husband. Her husband is really cute. Like, he's like the basic, like, I wouldn't say basic, but he's like the, like an average looking dude, but he was very, very handsome to me. Nice chocolate skin, nice bone structure, very cute. And then we then see Wendy's mom come up with some terrible, terrible foundation. Like, her foundation was like at least 4 shades lighter than her actual skin. I'm like, ladies, like, y'all gotta, when y'all moms come on the screen, like, y'all gotta coach them on how to like get their look together and not being so thrown off. Like, I mean, her mom is a pretty woman, but it's just like her face should not be Casper and her skin is on Lupita Nyong'o. Like, it should not, no. And then we get a rundown of Wendy's credentials, and she's a very accomplished woman, and I actually think she's a great addition to this show. I like her so far. So we get into the next scene. It's kind of like a cutaway back and back scene. We see Candace and Chris go shopping for Chris's daughter. I mean, we kind of found out that Chris's daughter is young, so this is like a recent baby. I think maybe she's like 2 or 3. And that she's black too, so he has a thing for black women, so I mean, that's cool. And then we see Karen. She comes to Monique's house dressed like she's going to a church and a track meet. And then she is annoyed basically at Monique's bird. Like, she always has this damn bird around every time Karen comes over. So Monique is pretty much, like, they go back and forth. Like, you see Candace talking to Chris and then Monique talking to Karen. And basically just how, like, both Monique and Candace are mad at each other and the issues they have with each other. Monique is mainly mad that Candace is hanging with Charisse after the shady shit that Charisse said about her. And then Candace is basically mad at Monique for being two-faced, which, judging from the cutaway of the camera in the earlier scene, I can see how Monique is being two-faced on this show. So both of them have valid points in my opinion. So Giselle and her girls, they go down to a yacht for Giselle's birthday that Jamal rented for them. They get there, they sit down, it's very awkward. Nobody's really talking, like nobody's saying anything. And then the horn blows on the yacht, and then Giselle does this like awkward dancing to no music that everybody just looks at her like, girl, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, it was pretty funny and awkward. Like, I actually cringed looking at it low-key. Giselle was very cringeworthy. And then Jamal reveals later that he bought all 3 daughters part ownership at this Atlanta restaurant called Arizona's. And I thought that was a very, very sweet present. The two twins, they were cool with it, but Grace, she wasn't really feeling it. She's like, "Oh, I thought these were concert tickets." I'm like, "Girl, you better appreciate this blessing." Like, honestly, like the blessings that my parents gave me at that age, I didn't really appreciate until I got older. So I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt on that one. But girl, you about to be set up for life. I mean, if the restaurant is even open, coronavirus kind of just fucked up everything. So Giselle and Jamal then talk about Giselle's happiness, and Jamal sitting there looking like R. Kelly asks like, "When's the last time you've ever been happy on your birthday?" And Giselle's like, "Oh, so I'm only happy when you're in my life, basically." And I'm like, "Yeah, Giselle, you're only happy when a man is in your life. That's the point that everybody's trying to drive home to you, girl." So the next scene, we see Ashley. She's at her condo. She's getting it ready, and she's like, "This is the first time I've ever having a party at this condo." And I'm just like, that's another reason why I feel like that is not their main house. Like, that's not the main Darby residence. The girls then arrive, and they talk about Candace, and then once again, Candace arrives as soon as they were like sitting there talking about her. I'm like, Candace is not miss a beat, bitch. Like, so we see at the party, everybody's like chilling, and then Ashley gives Candace her baby to hold. And then Candace, it was like a little sweet moment. She was holding the baby. She's like, "You know what? I gotta say, seeing Ashley being in mommy mode and seeing how easy it looks, like I actually feel a lot more confident about potentially being a mom in the future." Candace is basically getting them early stages of baby fever. Like, it's coming, but like, you need to take your ass to therapy before you even think about getting impregnated. Like, just to be 100%, girl. So we then see Wendy. She walks up to Karen, and then they greet each other, and then Karen basically pays her dust again. And then they play the flashback of Karen saying like she's not impressed with Wendy. And I love you, Karen, but why are you not impressed with Wendy? Wendy, in my opinion, is a pretty impressive person. Like, is it because she accomplished more in life than you that you just feel threatened, and instead of being in her presence, you kind of act like she's just like a non-factor in your life, when really she is a factor in American life? Like, she's on television screens every day, not just on this show. Like, I feel like that's just rooted in jealousy. Hopefully we get to the bottom of their beef later on. But Karen, it's not a good look, girl. Love you though. So we then see, let's see. Kind of lost place in my notes, y'all. So then we see Charisse. She shows up. Monique is immediately uncomfortable. And in her confessional, Monique reveals that, she's cool with Ashley inviting Charisse because them two were like good friends. Basically, them two were like season 1 friends, even though they weren't friends in season 1. So it's like, you're okay with Ashley being cool with Charisse, but Candace linking up with Charisse, you have a problem. Even though it does look shady, you don't know the full reason why they linked up, but it is what it is. So Ashley then makes it known to Candace that they were like talking about her, and they basically kind of just try to put everything on the front street. And then Monique tries to jump in, and then her and Candace once again get into it. Candace is like, this is an issue between me and Ashley. Like, I'm not trying to bring this up with all you guys. And Monique and the other girls proceed to taunt her. And then Wendy chimes in, which I was happy that she did. She was like, maybe Candace doesn't feel comfortable talking about this issue with Ashley in front of y'all because Candace probably doesn't consider everybody here her friend. And then Wendy also proceeds like, "Candace, do you consider these people your friend?" And I'm like, that is a good ass question. And Candace is like, honestly, not really anymore. Like, she's like, these girls just have been ganging up on me this whole entire time. And then once again, Monique and Candace, they get into it again. And at this point, them two kind of remind me of like Issa versus Molly this past season of Insecure. Like, they were best friends. Not best friends, but they were great friends. And then like a bunch of he said, she said shit, and a bunch of them two going behind each other's backs have accumulated into them two just like really coming to blows and gunning for each other's necks every time they see each other. So the ship is sailed. Like, them two are not going to be friends anymore. Like, it is what it is. So then Candace gets up. She tries to leave. As she's leaving, Giselle sits there and calls her like a grown child, and then Karen politely checks her for that. And then Giselle then brings up, while Ashley and Candace are outside, Giselle brings up, let's put this on the table. Like, what's going on between Charisse and Monique? And Monique is like, no, I'm not trying to go there, Giselle. Like, pipe down with that shit. And it's like, once again, Monique, I love you, but you tried to force Ashley and Candace to talk, and it was an issue when they wouldn't talk. But now that they're trying to force you and Charisse to talk, now it's an issue. And then Charisse is sitting there like she really doesn't even know like what's going on. Like she's just truly confused. And then outside, and then also like Monique had an attitude with Giselle, rightfully so. Giselle was being messy, and then she proceeds to storm off. So outside we see Ashley and Candace, they're talking, and they talk about like why she's upset with Monique basically. Like Candace was crying, but she's like, I'm upset with Monique because like every time like she invites me to these things, like I just get ambushed, and she always has a problem with me instead of just like calling me and talking about the issue. But you know, like I feel like Monique has an issue with Candace, but at the same time she's also trying to get scenes out of Candace too. So that's why every time Candace pops up, like she just gets ambushed because it creates a scene for this show. But the ladies then proceed to talk about Charisse after Monique left, and Charisse is basically saying like she has no clue to what she did. And I'm like, now Charisse, I think Charisse actually has a history with this. Like I think she even tried to I remember it was back a few seasons back, like Charisse and Monique teamed up to bring in Giselle's boyfriend's ex-wife to the show. Like they tried to do that. So Charisse actually has a pattern with like bringing in people to kind of attack other people. But at the same time, Monique, you were cool with that back in the day, like when it was against Giselle. But now that Charisse has turned on you, now you're just like, oh no, this is an issue. Like, fuck Charisse. Which, like, I'm not 100% blaming Monique, but it's like, girl, like, you need to basically, like, stand in your words, if that makes sense. Like, she needs to... It's like she's dishing it out to Candace, but she can't take it, if that makes sense. But that's pretty much where the episode ends. Those are my views on the Real Housewives of Potomac. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will come at you guys with more content. I apologize for the tardiness. I had a birthday this week, had a great time, even though I didn't get to do much due to the Rona, but I'm just blessed to be great, and I'm blessed to be 28. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, guys, and I will talk to you soon.